Now, let me introduce Ms. Nagano Akiko, Program Officer of the FAO Office of Climate Change, Biodiversity, and Environment. In June of this year, Ms. Nagano organized a workshop on scaling up climate actions in Asia-Pacific. And today, she'll give us an overview of the discussions that transpired in that workshop and her insights on transforming the agri-food system.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Okay, now let's begin. My name is Akiko Nagano, and I will be speaking mainly about what I'm doing and then to provide some opportunities. Before I begin, actually, I found the previous two research topics, the logic part, very difficult for me. However, the conclusion, if I understood well, was quite simple and straightforward, that both of these technologies have the big potential to contribute to climate change mitigation, which is the center of my current work, as well as the other betters that FAO is aiming for. And I will introduce the 4 betters of FAO later. So in brief, yes, I belong to the team for supporting climate change, for supporting country efforts to implement mitigation in agriculture and agri-food systems. Today, I will not introduce comprehensively everything of what FAO is doing, but I will try to highlight how much FAO is emphasizing in climate change and science and innovation. So quickly, I will go through the first part and then introduce what I have been doing so far and now. So I suppose most of the audience today, by the way, good evening to those of you from Asia. It's about lunchtime at my end. I am speaking from the headquarters of FAO, which is in Rome. So I suppose many of the audience today are somewhat familiar with FAO, probably even more than me. So it was established in 1945. The current Director General is Dr. Kyu, who is from China. And it is actually, as the name shows, it is a specialized agency of the UN that leads international efforts to defeat hunger. So it's about food and agriculture, right? But what I want to emphasize here and throughout my story is that in dealing with food and agriculture, and food and to defeat hunger, climate change, both adaptation and mitigation, has become like one of the major topics that developing countries need to deal with. The 4 betters. This is like our FAO slogan: better production, better nutrition, better environment, better life. We call these the 4 betters. If you ever have a chance to come to FAO, you would see these 4 betters everywhere. And just to quickly highlight that under the better environment pillar, climate change, mitigating and adaptive agri-food systems. So these keywords come at the very beginning of the better environment pillar. Just a quick disclaimer. This is only part of the organizational chart. It is actually much bigger. What I want to highlight here is that the Office of Climate Change, Biodiversity and Environment, OCB in short, where I belong, is at the kind of like a higher level than these other, I'm sorry, because of the space, I'm not showing all the other sections like livestock, plant production, and those things. The production team come below one of these pillars. And also the Office of Innovation, this is at the same level as OCB. And they work, my colleagues in Office of Innovation, OIN in short, they work closely with this very high level chief scientist in developing and implementing the new strategy on science and innovation. Just to have that in mind. And the governance structure, the only reason actually I am showing this is to highlight, because today's topic was to focus in Asia-Monsoon. Well, actually, under FAO category, it is the Asia-Pacific region. So what I wanted to say here is that FAO organized, the regional offices organize regional conferences biannually. And so for this region, that's the focus of today, Asia-Pacific session was held this March. I recognize Ms. Arai has participated in this session. The report of these regional conferences actually compile the expression of the member countries in the region, and hence serve as a guiding principle for FAO activities in the region. So I will just quickly show you what the Asia-Pacific report looks like. It's just really like any meeting summary or conclusion kind of document, not so exciting. So the actions to promote climate resilient agri-food systems in this region, blah, 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 the preamble part. And then after that, the conference, the regional conference, recommend FAO to do these certain things. Hence, the regional office for Asia Pacific, RAP in short, is actually doing a lot of new work based on these. For instance, NDCs is highlighted here. This is the nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement, and facilitate countries' access to climate finance, investment, and resilient agri-food system, technologies, innovative technologies, evidence-based analysis. All these are highlighted, and our colleagues at RAP are really working on really new and exciting jobs based on this guiding document. So again, just briefly to highlight that within this OCB, climate change comes at the top of its work, and also other work like the Green Climate Fund, Coronivia work, these are also related to climate change. So climate change is really one of the very important works in the current structure of FAO. And I was going to briefly walk the audience through the FAO, the two new strategies, the new updated climate change strategy and the new science and innovation strategy. But at the moment, there is not much, I mean, the document itself is on the website, but at the moment, there is not very, what to say, an easy to digest kind of information available. So just to mention that this is available, and that FAO is actually working on developing an action plan to implement this strategy. So that will be upcoming very soon. And also that the science and innovation, again, is highlighted in the climate change strategy. And for the science and innovation strategy, again, the document itself is already available on the web. But according to my colleagues, it will be introduced at the upcoming Science and Innovation Forum. But by the way, today's side event is a side event of the Science and Innovation Forum, but the forum itself will be held next week. So I would encourage all of you to register. I have the links here for those of you using smartphones. This should work. I think the registration is still open, and the new strategy will be introduced there. Most, or half maybe, most of my work here at FAO is related to implementing a trust fund project from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, MAF Japan. The project aims, the objective of the project is to enhance capacities and knowledge sharing opportunities of developing countries on promoting carbon sequestration in agricultural soil and technology for reduction of greenhouse gases. And actually it is closing in a few months. And the main activities under this project is to organize workshops for capacity building related to GHG emission reduction, increasing soil carbon sequestration, and also including measurement and evaluation, which is actually very, very important. And to quickly introduce what has been done so far, Antonio, thank you very much for highlighting this. I think he mentioned the June workshop, but actually we have been implementing a series of workshops, mostly focusing Asia and Pacific. However, I would also like to highlight, I heard very well that President Dr. Koyama in his opening remark mentioned that what contributes to this Asia-Monsoon or Asia-Pacific region should be helpful to other regions. This is also very important for myself and the FAO. And as a matter of fact, I would like to briefly mention that this June workshop, which focused in carbon, soil carbon, and the rice production system. So we were discussing a lot about methane and methane reduction from rice paddies. And initially, we were actually targeting Asia, promoted this through the regional office in Asia Pacific. However, it turned out that there was enormous global interest, not only from Africa, but also from the American continent. And upcoming, this is a highly technical workshop, actually. This is also financed by the MAF Trust Fund, but it is open to invited experts only. But we would be sure to publish the proceedings afterwards. I'm not going to explain this actually because it is too much information, but those of you interested, I would encourage you to have a look at this link here. What I want to say here is that based on this research, this survey, we are going to organize, as a follow-up of these recommendations, we are planning to organize a training workshop for GHG greenhouse gas inventory experts and soil scientists, that both of these people can participate, which is actually a challenge for many, many developed and developing countries, but it is also a challenge for us. So this will come through. And also, again, to highlight the importance of soil scientists in collecting data for policies. Now, finally, just several thoughts. But first, allow me to read a note from my colleague in the Office of Innovation. Their work will be guided by the new Science and Innovation Strategy, just like my work, our work is guided by the climate change strategy. So within this new strategy, we, the OIN in principle, we push topics like agriculture innovation systems, biotechnology, digital agriculture, innovation hubs, national digital agricultural strategy, blockchain, etc., design thinking, and behavioral science. These topics are brought to our FAO colleagues through FAO International FAO Internal Innovation, but maybe even more important through external innovation to all of our FAO stakeholders, which definitely includes JIRCAS, but also the audience of today's side event. So the office wants to help countries with innovation in agriculture through policies, financing, and institutions. All this happens as the implementation of the FAO Science and Innovation Strategy, which you can find on the FAO website. But again, you are invited to join the forum next week. It will be a hybrid event. And some recent movements. So the new strategy, the first ever actually FAO Science and Innovation Strategy, and the Ipcc AR6. This includes a lot of latest science and ambitious climate target. This is actually changing and accelerating the political will, as well as many companies' will. And enhanced transparency framework, joint crediting mechanism. This, I noted that Dr. Kazu Minamikawa mentioned his interest in Article 6 under the Paris Agreement. These requirements are really coming as a, pushing on developing countries, but also for the developed countries, the need for support, etc. And all of these increased interest and need for scaling up agriculture solutions to climate change. So now, just to mention that the world is ever changing. So my final message, if I may, is I would just like to make a plea to scientists. Scientists really need to sell their products to the people in need. So you need to use the language that adapts to the people that you want to sell your technology. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Nagano. So this ends the presentation session. And again, we'd like to thank all our distinguished speakers for their valuable inputs. So now we'd like to wrap up this online seminar with the closing remarks from Dr. IIYAMA Miyuki, Director of the Information Program of JIRCAS.
Thank you, Chairman, for my introduction. Distinguished participants, I would like to take this moment to thank all the speakers. Mr. Nakazawa of Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery of MAF, Ms. Nagano of FAO, along with Dr. Funaki, Dr. Minamikawa, and Dr. Subarao of JIRCAS. On behalf of the organizers, please let me give a few concluding remarks at the end of this event. Today's global food systems are facing many challenges posed by anthropogenic climate change and environmental crisis, threatening our planetary health. The food systems are among the leading causes of greenhouse gas emissions, environmental pollution, and biodiversity loss. A paradigm shift toward sustainable food systems is becoming an inevitable trend worldwide. So the identification and promotion of locally appropriate science and technology and innovation is key in accelerating such a transition. The Asia-Monsoon region is no exception. The region is increasingly exposed to extreme events, such as droughts, floods, and outbreaks of pests and diseases with catastrophic consequences on the agriculture sector. The agriculture, in turn, is partly responsible for climate change and environmental degradation. The Asia-Monsoon region urgently needs to identify ways to accelerate the sustainable food system transformation. As Mr. Nakazawa of MAF emphasized, Japan's strategy Midori is geared to promote such a transformation through innovations. In turn, Mr. Nakazawa also noted that the Asia-Monsoon region has distinctive agroecological and socioeconomic conditions, namely hot and humid climate, rice paddy farming system, and small-sized farms, all together conditioning the region's very intensive farming systems, including challenges to control weeds, pests, and diseases. Innovations for the region need to take these context-specific constraints into account to help producers not only achieve mitigation, but also improvement in productivity and profitability. In turn, within the Asia-Monsoon region, there are many common features which may provide enabling conditions to realize a swift implementation of the food system transformation through scaling up of basic agronomic practices with their fine-scale tailoring to locally specific contexts. The region should pursue the economy of scales of technology application through leveraging on the collective action to share knowledge. This is the rationale behind the launching of Green Asia project, as Dr. Funaki of JIRCAS elaborated. The information to be generated by the International Center for Strategy Midori could serve as a reference for the evidence of viable innovation to be applied and scaled up in the Asia-Monsoon region. Then, what kind of innovations are viable? Such should be promoted in the Asia-Monsoon region particularly. Dr. Minamikawa of JIRCAS stressed that the consideration of co-benefit and the incentive for the voluntary dissemination to farmers is essential. In his presentation of a case of alternate wetting and drying, or AWD, Dr. Minamikawa indicated that mitigating greenhouse gas emissions would not necessarily induce automatic adoption of technology among producers. When developing innovations, scientists should keep in mind that the introduction of technology must make also economic sense to producers who make decisions to adapt to technologies or not. Say, saving labor or input costs, improving yields, along with mitigating environmental footprints. Dr. Subara of JIRCAS presented a case of BNI, biological nitrification inhibition, which really symbolizes a breakthrough innovation. In the modern agriculture, fertilizer is often applied excessively, and most of them is not efficiently taken up by crops, and instead resulting in emitting greenhouse gas and polluting groundwater due to complex crop-soil reactions. Scientists try to make most use of the interaction involving soil, microorganisms, and crops to develop nitrogen fertilizer efficient varieties. In this way, innovations require mobilization of full range of knowledge, including plant breeding, soil microorganism, biochemical mechanism, etc., in international collaboration. Indeed, Strategy Midori tries to promote enabling environment for such innovations, as Mr. Nakazawa of MAF emphasized in his presentation. And the Green Asia project facilitates the acceleration of such innovation in the Asia-Monsoon region through dissemination of information and joint research activities, as Dr. Funaki indicated. Ms. Nagano of FAO introduced the four betters strategy of FAO and emphasized the critical role of science in driving the sustainable food system transformation. Given the Asia-Monsoon region's collective significance, the success of the regional food system transformation should have enormous global impacts for demonstrating potentials of synergies for climate change mitigation and sustainable agriculture production, as Ms. Nagano said. Other regions are quite interested in what we are doing in this Asia-Monsoon region. So there are huge opportunities for the region to realize rapid transformation of food system through creating of enabling environment for co-learning experiences to test and disseminate science, technology, and innovation. Finally, thank you all the online participants. JIRCAS is very grateful for having the opportunity to organize this side event at the occasion of FAO Science and Innovation Forum, with great inputs from MAF and FAO. Indeed, this event has served as the first opportunity to introduce Green Asia project to the public. Green Asia project will provide more information useful to the stakeholders, online or through various medias. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yama. So this ends the FAO Science and Innovation Forum 2022 side event, Creating Sustainable Food Systems in Asia-Monsoon region through science and innovation. Thank you very much for joining us.